All right. So, welcome back. And as you see, another amazing backdrop. Just been really blessed in life to be able to experience the things I've been able to experience and be in places and locations and meet the people I've been able to meet. Um, I'm on my birthday weekend, or my birthday was yesterday. I finally turned 44. You've heard me speak on it the past few couple of times, um, in some of these past few videos. So I finally hit that 4-4, and it's been great. I've been here at this uh, villa on the north side of Bali and the island. Met a beautiful young lady who encouraged me to come out here with her and allowed me to come out. And so we came out here and have this wonderful, wonderful location that we've been able to spend time at for the past 3 or 4 days. But for my 44th yesterday, I gave a great treat to myself. I went for a 4 mile run. And, while being in paradise. And what I always like to say in some of my speeches and some things I talk about, I always say, create hell in paradise, right? So I'm literally, as you can tell, and as you can see, hopefully a little bit, infinity pool right here, ocean right there behind me. There's a villa behind, and I'll give you some clips of this in the video. Um, but I'm not saying to show off, saying it because, again, when you work and you stay true and you stay steady, and you take advantage of opportunities, you're able to put yourself in situations like this, right? For your birthday and be around someone. If I hadn't met her, I've never been invited to. She was on a diving trip here. I would never been invited, and if I didn't have the quality character that she could receive, right, then and be okay with, then I wouldn't have been able to be in this wonderful location. So again, giving gratitude and respect to things that are outside of me, but also to giving respect and gratitude to the fact that I have been able to stay steady and stoic in my approach to development and all that, so I can be ready when the time presents itself to be introduced to someone that can bring me to something like this, right? And be appreciative of it. So that being said, though, because we've already talked about the importance of the first couple steps, first step being getting your deep rest, right? And I know I'm talking with this again. It's hot as all get out. I don't have a microphone stand, and so I saw influencer use a silverware, so I'm doing that. Okay, so uh, get past that. Let's stay focused on what we're talking about here. So we did deep. We talked about proper rest, right? Step one. Step two, we talked about being gratitude, giving gratitude, waking up first thing you do in the morning, giving gratitude. Third, we talked about the importance of your modality of deep stillness. And my modality choice is meditation. Yours can be prayer. I know that the title of it was don't pray, but meditate. But again, not to indict prayer. You can pray, you can do whatever, but it has to be something that's going to allow you to be in a state of connectivity to that inner power, to that higher power within us that guides us, that gives us the ability to create these type of things here on earth, and be a part of these things here on earth. We have to tap into that higher power. However you do it, you do it. I choose the modality of meditation. So after we get through those three steps, this particular conversation is about the fourth principle that I implement, that you heard me say I did a little bit of it yesterday on my 44th birthday. I went for a 4 mile run, I think right underneath 5 or 6 kilometers, I guess. And if you do kilometers, here in this part of the world, um, physical activity, right? The fourth step being taking action and physically putting yourself through physical activity of some kind. And I go back to, like I said, with the deep stillness, the modality really doesn't matter. What matters is the focus and the depth and the intentionality of getting from it what the purpose of it is. So in deep stillness, the purpose is to connect to your higher power, connect and have conversation and be one with the higher energy within you, whether you want to call it God, Allah, Buddha, Mary Magdalene, whatever you want to call it. um, it's just understanding that you are connecting to that, and then you're talking to that, and you're being a part of that power, right? And you're able to have deep, deep, deep conversation to elevate past the human brain, the human ego, the human mentality. And again, on other platforms, on my lives, I'm gonna go a little more into what actual techniques to use. Here, we're just talking about the general idea. So therefore, you can hopefully want to explore the different dynamics with me on how I go about it in its actual application, right, on a day to day with different parts of your life having to be brought out different type of skill sets and different type of tools to bring out different parts of you, right? Because every stage, different levels, different devils. Every stage requires something different, right? So we go into that into the Patreon. We go into that also in the lives with me, so you can see in real time. Like I've said before, with the lives, I don't like to curate. Even with this, I don't curate the content. I know what I'm going to talk about with you, yes, beforehand. Like I'm covering these topic points. However, it's not curated like, okay, we're going to prop this up. We're going to set it. It's actually in real time. I don't have a script that I go off of. I go off because again, this is how I live. This is where my heart is. This is what I've consistently done for the past 30 years of my, formative years of being a young adult, being a now middle-aged man, right? So that being said, this conversation is going to be a two-part series too with this, because there's two components to the physical activity part. I'm going to start with, because it's the easiest thing to do in the morning, to have a routine. And this is what we're trying to teach you guys, how to have a routine, a foundation to go to. No matter what happens in life, you can go to these things. You can implement these tools, these strategies, these principles, and interject them no matter where you are in the world, no matter where you are in the time of your life, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're in love, whether you're depressed, whether you are, extremely happy or you're sad. You can implement these tools and you can implement these steps, these principles immediately, and you'll have an immediate positive response. You have immediate cortisol level, a dopamine hit, all the chemical reactions necessary to improve your circumstance, especially if improvement at that particular part in your life is necessary, or if sustaining the brilliance or the economics or the relationship you want to sustain at a high level. These still need to be implemented in order to do that, right? So the fourth step is physical activity, right? And it's a two-part series because it's physical activity as well as what you eat. And we all know what you eat amplifies the physical. So I'm sitting here, yes, my shirt off. I'm sitting here, in front of the pool, in front of the ocean, shirt off because it's hot, not just because I'm talking about physical activity. But I hope you see from what you're seeing with me, yes, the aesthetic is showing at 44 that and this is all natural. This is no steroids, no testosterone, none of that stuff is happening with here. No surgeries happen here, none of that, right? This has literally been 30 years of dedication, of consistency, of the modality, of the principle, for principle, of waking up in the morning, getting to it, physical activity. And then like I said, in the second half, I'm talking to you about the nutrition aspect that has my skin glowing, that has, if I were to grow my hair, full head of hair, strong nails, my teeth being clean, white, no high blood pressure, no diabetes, no inflammation in my body, soreness because of muscle soreness because I exercise, but that's to be expected. But as far as functionality, no back pain, no knee pain, even though having had major motorcycle accident, even though having had broken bones before, still no issues with the body because of this fourth principle and this fourth um, uh, modality being consistently applied throughout my life. So physical activity, again, doesn't matter necessarily the modality. You hear me, I went for a 4 mile run, but you see my definition, you see my body. I like to go into the gym. I like to lift weights. So first thing in the morning, after I've taken care of my deep sleep, after I've taken care of my gratitude, after taking care of my deep stillness and my meditation, I get to exercise. When I am stateside and I'm on a regimen of, having to be somewhere at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, it's a 4 a.m. rise time. It's a get up early rise time around 4 a.m. to do the meditation, to do the gratitude, and then to get to the gym no later than 5:15, right? Maybe 5:30, depending on a slow day. Now that I'm living abroad, most gyms don't open up that early at 5 a.m. So we have the 6 a.m. open up time here. Actually, I found Bali, they open up at 6. When I was in Spain, they open up about 7, 8 o'clock. The gyms open up. And when I was in Colombia, Gym opened up early, about 5:30, 6 a.m. In Colombia. So normally I'm getting to the gym around that time. Why is the gym so important? It's my modality that I choose. I was a trainer for 20 plus years, certified licensed trainer, train celebrities. If you were at my live, you know who I train. Mariah Carey, Gabrielle Union Wade, Stevie Wonder. Uh, had a chance to build a private gym for LL Cool J, Todd Smith, in his home. So I got a chance to talk with him, never trained him, but got a chance to talk with him and build his private gym. So yeah, and other few celebrities, and other people as well. I've trained thousands of people over my 20 years, literally, um, as well as training myself, having done natural competitions. So I choose the modality of gym. I like the gym. I like the resistance. I like the idea of lifting weight. For me, being a man, and for men, and even for women, I recommend weightlifting as a primary modality for a physique to have the look you're going for, the symmetry, the shape, the full pectoral, or the full bust, or the full thighs, the full shoulder, humeral delt, round shoulders, or the nice traps. So I always recommend. Sorry guys, I'm sweating. It's hot. It's just hot out here. Um, so I always recommend gym if you want to have, and as you stay consistent, you have to give it 36 months. You have to give it, 5, 10 years of consistency along with the nutrition. But with the gym, you get a chance to shape the body better, in my opinion, when you're looking for symmetrical, aesthetic appeal. Don't get me wrong, Pilates is fantastic, especially the reformer, Windsor, reformer specifically. You can get very intentional. You can get, lengthening. You can get the elongation of the muscles. You can get the definition you're looking for to a degree. But again, you have to go at it hard. And let me not say this. It's not. I know it sounds like I'm coming from just the aesthetic portion of this, but because I know a lot of people focus on the aesthetic as the primary reason why they want to exercise. And when you look at my type of my body, and you look at my six pack or whatever, you think that that's the primary reason. That's not the primary reason. I've already talked about it. I'm going to go back into it more, but I'm just kind of starting with this so you can understand how, because you're looking at me, how I get the symmetry and the look is because of the weights. That's why I go with that. The reason why I train though is more for spiritual and emotional and intellectual, even stability that I need to have throughout the ebb and flow of life. That's why I train, and that's why I stay with it. And also too, to give back and show my physical gratitude to the powers that be. I believe in just powers of energy, greater than myself, but I show them by physically taking my body through activity, by going to the gym, by going for runs, by sometimes doing yoga, by sometimes doing Pilates classes, by sometimes doing Wim Hof deep breath work, whatever it might be, by sometimes doing an ice bath. I'm showing the powers that be that I appreciate this vessel that they gave me, and by taking care of it in that manner. It's always so crazy to me when I see people out of shape and out of weight, overweight. I understand that, certain people genetically are dispositioned to be certain ways. However, I don't give credence to the fact that if you're saying you are Christian, Muslim, Catholic, whatever, Buddhist, and you are overweight, that doesn't make sense to me, because it's like you're not showing your power that gave you this body appreciation by just saying, hey, I'm gonna eat whatever, I'm not going to take care, I'm not going to work, exercise, I'm not going to sweat, I'm not going to push my physical limits, because I don't want to. Well, to me, that's being disrespectful to the powers, because you didn't have to be blessed with the body you have. You didn't have to be blessed with all functioning limbs, because there's someone out there who doesn't have, a left leg, or who doesn't have a right arm, whether they lost it, or never were born with it, or whether they, lost it due to some accident, or, most of the time, a lot of times it's in some kind of war or something, right? They are unfortunate. They can't do what a full able-bodied person can do, right? And so for me, when I see someone who is fully able-bodied, but emotionally and mentally not able-bodied to give themselves the discipline and give themselves the intentionality of saying, hey, I'm going to take care of this, I have no love for that. I have no respect for that, because if you're going to say you are appreciative, you also have to show you're appreciative. Like we said before in the gratitude section, it's not just about words, it's about your actions. The actions of me going for runs, going to the gym every morning is showing the powers that be that I'm thankful to them by doing the fucking work, not by just sitting there talking and sounding good. And because I got my bank account is nice, because my bank account should be nice too. And it is nice. So it's like, all of it should go together, especially the body, especially the spirituality, should all go together, right? So this is why I do the modalities and I work out, and I choose modality of gym because, like I said, because I do want to have an aesthetic appeal. I do want to have a certain look with it, and I'm fully aware it takes time. When people look at me and they say, "Well, how long you been training?" And the first thing at this particular point, I'm 44 now. First thing I say is 30 years. And everybody looks at me, for one, they want to say, well, you don't look 44. Great, whatever. I could care less if I look it or not. I feel great. It doesn't matter. I don't need that pacifier or that, compliment. And again, I know they don't mean anything wrong by it, but I'm telling you, I don't need that, because what's most important is when I wake up and I get out of bed, I can comfortably get out of bed. My back is not locking up at 44. I can comfortably get up, stretch for a little bit, go for a run, and my knees are not achy afterwards. I can go to the gym and lift 3 times my body weight. I'm 180 pounds. I can go in and squat 315 pounds if I want to. I can go in and dumbbell bench 120-pound dumbbells, 130-pound dumbbells, comfortably if I want to. And it's not to show off. It's for me to know I have the strength and the effort to push that type of weight. But because, again, that's where my work is. That's where my appreciation is given and received when I'm in those moments. So when someone on the street comes up to me and shows genuine appreciation for my hard work, I'm appreciative and I'm thankful. Don't get it mistaken. I'm thankful and I'm appreciative, because again, you don't have to say anything to me, and you don't have to commend me for what I've done. But I'm saying I don't need it said to me, and I don't need it said to me about, I don't look my age, whatever that means, because it's relative. I don't look anything other than just being a being here on this planet who hopefully exudes pursuit of sustained quality and hopefully a level of excellence. I'm pursuing that. My pursuit is a daily thing. I do that by getting rest. I do that by giving gratitude verbally. I do that by meditating, connecting to the higher power, and then fourth, going out on the action of showing, okay, I can take care of me. And also, too, by doing this, not only am I showing the powers that be that I take care of me and I appreciate it, and then over time, hopefully the aesthetic matches, right? Hopefully, again, genetics and all that play a major role. In my case, I've been blessed where the aesthetics match that work that I put in. And again, that has nothing to do with me. I understand that. Also, though, what it does have to do with me is it plays a part in the work ethic that I put into everything else. Building businesses, losing businesses and rebuilding businesses, losing relationships and rebuilding relationships, right? And then sustaining the relationship, sustaining the business. All these factors stem from the start of my day, the repeated start of my day, where I get up and I do the thing that I don't necessarily want to do, because I don't necessarily every day want to get up for sure and push my body to a point to where it feels like it wants to break. I don't want to do that shit. I don't. I don't want to, but it's not about what I want. It's about what needs to be done in order for me to have a certain quality. I don't want to invest, when I only bring in a profit margin, little less than let's just say, for example, $1,000 in a month, right? I don't necessarily want to take the 250 out of that I mandatory have to invest in my index funds. But I have to. I still got bills I got to pay, right? But I got to still pay myself first if I want to have a quality of life, when the age does hit where I physically can't match the earnings, right? Or I haven't set up my automations in a way where, or they're just, something happened to where they're not working and I need money, but I have it because I sacrificed and I invested like I was supposed to over years, right? Once I started locking in to do it, it took me some time. It took me some years. I only started doing it the past 5 years, but I've been doing it and I'm doing it still, even now. My point is, by doing the discipline and getting up and doing the hard work of going and pushing my body physically, it trickles over into everything else that I do. It moves over into everything else that I need to do, even when I don't feel like I want to do it. I can reflect back to the immediacy of the morning when I was like, I didn't want to get out of bed that soon. I was laying next to my girl. AC was on right. I was cool. The sheets was right. The bed was comfortable. She was comfortable. Thigh was on me. I was loving it. I don't want to get out of bed, but I got to. Right. So when it comes down to investing that 250, even though I only had a profit margin of $30,000 that month, or maybe I didn't even have a profit margin that month, I just had to put out 250. I just do it, right? Because I did it in the exercise, I did it in pushing my body, I did it in going for a run, even though I cannot stand running. I hate running with a passion, but I understand the importance of having strong lungs, strong cardiovascular. I understand the importance of if I do have to carry my girl or I have to go and my parents need me and I got to pick my mother up or I got to pick my father up and I got to carry them, feet, God forbid, for some reason, I have the capability physically to go do that, right? And I don't have to worry about someone else doing it for me. If I got to carry my 50-pound luggage, from my hotel room, from the car to the hotel room, and it's a half-mile walk to the hotel room, I'm okay. I don't have to sit there and pass out, right? This is why you do these things. This is why you sacrifice to put the effort in now to do the things that you don't quote unquote want to do, but that need to be done. Because again, I've talked about it in other episodes. You have to choose your hard. It's going to be hard either way. Someone would say, well, it's too hard to go exercise. Well, it's too hard to be sitting here at 60 years old and my back is bothering me. My knees are shot. I can't walk downstairs and I'm only 60 years old. I'm 60 years young and I want to travel now. And me trying to go to these resorts where you have to walk them down some steep steps and I'm out of breath or I have to be very cautious how I'm stepping. It don't make sense. You chose your hard by not doing the activity because well, you said I have to make money. Yeah, I make money too. I have to build a business, but it's imperative that yes, my account has a couple $100,000 in it. You know what I'm saying? It's imperative that happens, but it also is imperative that my body is worth a couple 100,000 and I treat it as worth a couple 100 million because that is the vessel that I can't get my health back. And that is the thing. You cannot get your health back, ladies and gentlemen. You can make all the money you want to. You can spend all the time in a villa, but I tell you, it's a difference being in a villa, being able to walk around and move and make love in every room you want to and get in and out of a pool how you want to, as opposed to being in a villa and you got to have a nurse's aide because you can't move to put your pants on. You can't move to wash your butt, right? Which is what people do. And it doesn't make sense because you sacrifice over here. You chose your hard thinking that the economics was the end all be all. It's not. It's a part of the process. And I'm not saying exercise is the end all be all, but it damn sure is a very important part of the process in order to keep this one body that we're given at its best working capacity as we go through this life for however long you're going to be here. We're living longer now. I joke a lot where I say, I joke, but I'm dead serious. My goal is to be off this earth at 150. That's when I naturally want to die. I believe I will be at 150. I don't believe by any means I'll be like this by any means. I'm not obtuse enough to think that would be the case. I do believe though I will be a functioning 150 to where I'll be able to at least be, able to, get to the bathroom, take care of myself and, lay back down comfortably, all that stuff. But I'll be able to think sharp. I'll be able to move sharp. I'll be able to have conversation, recall things. And that's what I want to be able to do, right? People are living longer. And I'm saying that because we live longer, not so much due to the medicines we take. It has nothing to do with that. Actually, that really is impedance to it. I know we're all trying to biohack and we're trying to figure out, the next biohacking technique in order to keep extending life. They say the centurions, the most centurions right now, as at the airing of me talking on this, they're saying the biggest community of people living over 100 are in Japan. And it's a little over 100,000 people who are over the age of 100 currently right now living in Japan. And that boils down to, and they work and they still work. One article I read was someone was like 106. He was saying if he dies in his shop and he was doing like bicycle work, he's happy. But the point is he's functional, right? And he's 106 and he's still moving. He's still working, still. Now, is he moving like me at 40? No. Am I moving like a 20-year-old? No, I'm not. I could look like it, but I'm still not technically. I'm not a 20-year-old. I'm not. So you can't think you're going to be at that at that level. You're going to be extraordinary. You have to keep it in relation to what you're saying. My point is, though, if they're living to be 106, that means they're living longer. If they're still working at 106, that means that they're able to still be functional and be capable of doing things. So my concern and my job for me is how I want to watch that. I want to see that. And I want to mimic that type of life, right? So how do they do it? A lot of them eliminate, or control the level of stress over the years, right? They let things flow, right? So it's a mental approach to not trying to project oneself onto ideologies and thoughts and different things, but just be and do and deliver what needs to be delivered upon, right? So following that premise, that's why I love exercise. That's why I love taking care of myself. And even though I hate at times, what I've learned is discipline is not a punishment, right? I've learned that these are necessities because, again, you're going to have to choose your hard regardless. And while I'm here, I might as well try to prepare myself for as much ease as possible, understanding that in order to gain ease, you need to go through difficulty and stress. I always talk about an example, where when we look at, jewels, diamonds, in order to get a diamond, it has to be excavated. It has to be dug out of the ground, right? And when you first get a diamond, which we all know, it does not look like what we see in the jewelry store. It does not look like what we see on someone's ring, right? After marriage. It doesn't look like that. It literally looks like a rock, a piece of dirt that's been hardened over time, and you have to chip away at it. You have to cut at it in order to get down. And then when you cut at it, you have to cut at it very precise, very, very calculated with special equipment to bring out the clarity, to bring out the diamond's light and the brilliance and the shine, right? It's the same thing with your life and your body. It's the same thing with everything that we do on a daily basis. It's the same, different, but same. If you're not willing to put in the work and take care of your physical physique, not for how you want to look. I'm at a point where, yes, I can do it where I'm like a billionaire with my body. A billionaire can spend a couple $100 million and not think about it because, again, they're worth billions, right? Bezos, Elon, Zuckerberg, anybody else that's in your community that that's worth billions, um, they can spend 100 million, 200 million and not bat an eye because they've earned the right. They're in an economic status stratosphere where that doesn't hurt them like someone who doesn't have 100 million, only worth say 500,000, and you trying to spend 2 million. Can't do it, right? My body over time, because I put 30 years into this, I can sit here in front of you and look like this. So yes, I can now mentally approach some of my training as I just want to do this for a certain aesthetic pop. I want to bring out my bicep more. I want to bring out my abdominal more. I want to bring out my quad more. I can now be particular with my exercise and still not have to push as hard, but still get what I'm looking for. Whereas someone who is not at that level, yes, you need to be disciplined and you need to have a certain strategy approach to how you train in order to have the overall wellness and to get into the routine and get into the rhythm of what this whole idea, this whole concept of training means, right? So you would have to be a lot more regimented. You would have to be a lot more disciplined on what you're saving, what you're investing, right? If you're trying to get to that multi-million dollar status, you have to be a lot more disciplined. If you're trying to get to a physique like mine, you have to be a lot more disciplined, a lot more fastidious and focused in on the workouts you do. Um, and then once you get to that place of culmination of the seemingly what you want to look like, then you can start to play with it. It's kind of like in basketball, LeBron, who is one of the greatest to ever play the game. We understand that. And no matter if you think it's Jordan or him or whoever, he's one of the greatest to ever play the game, if not the greatest because of his stats, right? But if you heard him talk about in some of his years, especially as he got into Miami Heat and then he got with the Cleveland Cavaliers again, at that juncture, he was so seasoned with his talents. He started in middle of games playing and doing certain things that most people, you know, do in horse or in the backyard or, just playing around. He started doing in real games because his skill set got to such a point to where now he could play. But for the average player, it's like, that's something that's extraordinary to do that move, right? Well, we want to get you to that same point with your wellness. We want to get you to this point naturally. We want to get you to this point where you can play, but you have to give yourself the years. You have to give yourself the reps. You have to give yourself the time in order to be able to say, now I want to look aesthetic way like how you see me sitting here in front of you. My point in saying this is right now, if you're starting off implementing step 4 and you haven't been doing it consistently, you've done it, intermittently or sporadically over the past few years, start by disciplining yourself, not a punishment, but discipline yourself, because it's an honor to discipline yourself. It's a privilege to discipline yourself. Get into that habit for the next 36 months, for the next 5 years, for the next 8 years. No matter if you're 40, just getting started, you're about to, so the next 8 years, so at 48, now you can start to have the body you want. And the great thing about it is, reason why we always say too in training, it's never too late to start, because if you haven't been doing it like I've been doing it for the past 30 years, your body actually does respond, especially if you're a man, your body does respond quicker to the dynamic of consistent quality workouts and training, right? Specifically, like I said, the modality of gym. If you're new to it, you respond quicker and better, and you possibly can get the aesthetic look you're looking for. Someone like myself, I'm already maxed at what I'm going to pretty much look like, so it's just about maintaining at this particular point and sustaining at a high level, which is still very vital and it's very important. I've been like this since I was 14, but again, it's been consistent, hard, intense work along the journey to look like this, not just to look like this, but to continue showing myself that I can do the hard work. And I don't succumb to the fact that, oh, well, I'm already there, I'm good. Or I've already made, 1.2 million. I've already made, $20 million. So I'm good. I can now blow 18 million. No, I can't do that. No, I cannot miss days of exercise just because the outside world thinks I look good, or I look in the mirror and I'm happy with some of the results that I have. Because I understand this: if I don't sustain this, if I don't keep it, it will go just like that. If I don't continue earning the money, it will go just like that, especially with money, because it's always bills that need to be paid. Somebody needs something comes up, your daughter needs something, your family, your parents may need something, you need something, you want something, your girl, your lady wants something. So money is going to be spent. So if you're not making it at a high clip, it will be gone, right? So the same thing with the exercise. I can sit here and say, well, yeah, I got the chest now, or I got the thighs now, I got the, the cat. Yeah, but even when you get that, the hope is for you. I understand this. I'm hoping I'm sharing this with you by helping you understand these principles. We're on the forefront right now, 2-part series, like I said. By you implementing and sustaining these principles, then you can sustain what you obtain, and you can also grow it, because it's going to hit where it hits. I was living through COVID. Knock on wood, luckily I didn't get COVID, right? But if I did, I believe my body would have fought it. I don't know. I'm 44 now. I don't know. I could have cancer cells in my body. I don't know. Something is there. As we matriculate, as we go through this life, your body, deteriorates in a sense. That's why we die. So something is going to come about, but I exercise, I train with the intentionality of understanding too, though, whatever does hit, I will be able to thrive during it and not just try to survive. Even if that means the thing is, if I do have terminal cancer and it's going to take my life, okay, it takes my life, but I've lived and I'm going to live it thoroughly through, the chemo treatments the best I can. If I don't choose to do it, or whatever it is, I'm going to thrive through the difficulty, because I've done it and I do it in other parts of my life. I've been homeless twice. I still exercise when I was homeless because I understood the discipline of staying with, I'm not always going to be homeless. I'm going to get this situation straightened out. I'm going to get to having a place. I'm going to get to making money. And I don't need it to be when I get to making money. Now I got to reinvest that money back into my health, because I shot my health to smithereens when I was homeless and I was so depressed. Now I have to take care of what I did then, right? So it would be a catch-22. It would be kind of like working reverse. You worked hard to get money, but now this money has to go back into that year or two, however long, or 6 months, however long I was homeless and not taking care of myself. I now cause damage to my body to where it's virtually impossible or costs so much to correct the issue, and you can't correct it once the health is gone, which we understand that, right? So I say that to say the discipline of exercise is just multifaceted. The phrase is how you do one thing is how you do everything. How you accept the challenge of disciplining yourself to do step number 4 and do it religiously and consistently, not just based off of the days you feel good, but more importantly, the days when you don't feel like doing it, you still do it. It shows you how you will deal with a business you're trying to grow. It'll show you how you deal with a relationship that's a little rocky and you need to improve it or let it go, and let it go the right way to where, again, you can amicably part and not tear the other person down, or even beat yourself up for having done, if you did the wrongdoing to cause the separation. There's still a level of you have to forgive yourself so you can move on. How you work through the pain and difficulty that either you cause or don't cause is so important, and it shows itself in how you deal with your day-to-day principles. This is why I say exercise, physical activity is so important for you, the development of the character of the individual person you are, no matter what fucking age you are. It's so important to add that into it, because it always humbles you in a sense, especially when you do it right and you do it intensely. It humbles you to let you know, oh, I thought I had this strength. I thought I could do 315 today. Oh, I can't. I can only do 245. I can only do 10 reps, right? I thought I could do a full 30-second, reformer, hamstring movement, and I can only do 10 seconds today, because I'm just so tired. It reminds you of the humanity that you are, the human that you are, that yeah, you might feel the ego being strong and feel like you can conquer the world. But the reality is sometimes on some days you physically can only do but so much. That's when you have to lean on the fact that I am okay right here. And because I have disciplined myself to do this work, and I couldn't do it to the fullest of my ability, but I did it to the best of my ability, I'm going to take that over into my relationship. I'm going to take that over into my business. I'm going to take that over into my leadership role as a leader of 10,000 employees, or a department of 4 people in cybersecurity, whatever it might be, or I'm the head manager at a bank, or whatever it might be, right? You learn discipline, you learn how to feel yourself in real time, and you learn how to give yourself grace and how to accept where you are at this moment, not to be complacent, but just to understand that that's where I am today. I can't get the 4 mile. I want to do 6 miles. I can only do 3, right? I just my breath is short today. The heat is hot. The external reasons, or my body just doesn't feel, my back is locking up, but I at least gave it the effort. And I will rest now and let the powers that be reward me when they see fit for the reward that I need to get for it. And even if the reward was just me doing what I just did, and that's it, I'm fine with that. This is what physical activity opens and unlocks for you on a day-to-day basis, because every single day is a rebirth. Every single day you've been blessed with is a rebirth, is a dying of the old and a rebirth to the new. And that's why we have to do all of these principles: deep rest, gratitude, making sure you go into deep stillness, and you do physical activity every day, because again, this is a new day. This is your chance to be better. You can only be better by doing the things that are going to allow you to be better, and doing things that allow you to be better are doing these steps. And these are the primary steps that will allow you to extrapolate into other things. If you try to jump into the other things without building the foundation, again, that's when you're building your house on quicksand. That's what they talk about. That's why religion is so useful over time. Even though I know you think I'm against it, it's useful when it's used right. The idea is to have a build your foundation on something sound and solid. So therefore, when things get shaky, it doesn't sink, it doesn't shift, it doesn't move. These 5 principles to me are unequivocally, no matter if you're, like I've said this before, no matter if you are black, no matter if you're white, no matter if you're Asian, no matter if you're Indian, no matter if you are, alien. These principles can be done no matter where you are. If you're rich, if you're poor, if you are in love or you're, single, if you are depressed or you're jovial every day. these 5 principles do not care about your economic, they don't care about your ethnicity, they don't care about your gender, they don't care if you're transgender, it doesn't matter. Getting rest is important across all those spectrums. Giving gratitude to something bigger than you is important across all these spectrums. Having a modality to be still, to connect with something higher than yourself, is across all these spectrums. To take care of your body, if you are human, you have blood, you have skin, you have myofascia, you have muscle, you have tissues, you have ligaments. You have to work these things out. You have to nurture them and nourish them the right way with proper food. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity. I don't care if you're racist or not. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're poor. I don't care if you're old. I don't care if you're young. It needs to be done across all these spectrums of life. And the last one, work your plan, right? We'll get to 5 later after we do step 2 on the nutrition part. But again, this is why I say religion to me doesn't make sense, because it does alienate. If you're Muslim, you alienate the Christian. If you're Muslim, you alienate the Buddhist. If you're Buddhist, you alienate the Muslim. If you're a Sikhish, you alienate the Christian. If you're Catholic, you alienate the Christian. Or it's all this stupid shit. And then don't get into the race. If you are dark, or if you're light, or if you're yellow, I don't. I heard black people do this, or I heard white people do this, or I heard yellow people do this, and it's like, it's so stupid, so stupid. We separate each other based off of ignorance, where these principles don't give a fuck about these separating factors. What these principles focus on is what the truth of life is, which is you have to do these things in order to have a quality of life and a deliverable to your life where you can obtain the better of your life and the better of who you are, no matter what you are or who you are. That's why I love what we do, and that's why I love what we talk about here on My Inner Tech. So I hope this makes sense. I know I kind of go off into my little tangents, but like I said, we'll go more in detail, the actual tools, steps, and all that on the lives. I'll show you, some of the things in the gyms I go to and some of the workouts I do. The second part I'm going to talk about will be the nutrition aspect. What to think about as far as nutrition. And at this point, it's 2025. I know a lot of you have kind of gone through and heard what is, deemed as proper nutritional lifestyle. But I really want to talk more about how to have a lifestyle. And because we do have these distractions of foods that are easy, on the go, processed, all that stuff, taste good, all that chemically that affect our taste buds in a way where we just want to keep having them, even though they're harming our body. So I'll talk to you about the premise of how to situate your mind and your energies and your activities to be able to eat healthier more consistently, so you can check on the vitals that are more important, the day-to-day vitals, before you just have to keep running to the doctor and say, hey, check my blood work, check my numbers, just to have them tell you what you already know to be that you are unhealthy or deconditioned. You can change that, and it doesn't take a whole lot. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to go to Whole Foods back in the States or try to eat all the most organic. It doesn't have to be that, but it does need to be, because at this point, even the more organic is still not organic, just because of how we've mismanaged our lands and our Mother Earth. And I'm not saying that it doesn't have some benefit to the organic, but I'll get into that depth later on, okay, in part 2. So I hope this makes sense, though. Step 4, physical activity, so important. Do it in the morning when you first get up. Push yourself to do it, even if you don't want to, because it's not about wanting, it's about the need, what's necessary to get done. If you do what's hard, your life will be easy. If you do what's easy, your life will damn sure motherfucking be hard. And I don't need to keep telling you that. You can literally look at, your parents, your grandparents, people who have just sacrificed and done what they thought was easy, even though they're doing what they think is hard, but it's actually the easy thing to do. And then that's why they get the outcome they get. Do not confuse the fact that you have to work for doing something that's hard, because it's not hard. You have to fucking work. You have to be a contributor to society, to mankind, to yourself. You got to make a living. But people get it mistaken. They're like, well, I worked hard. Yeah, but you don't necessarily have to kill yourself to work hard and miss out on doing other things that you need to be doing for yourself in order to sustain a quality of life as you get older. So I'll talk about that in another episode, because I think we get that confused. Everybody, especially people who are, 45 and above, these young kids don't know how to work hard. it's not about necessarily killing yourself either, because y'all killed yourself, and yet you still don't you have a retirement fund that you really want. Your body's broken down, and that's not indicative of wisdom of growing through this life, and at some point figuring out how to take care of oneself so you can have the best of longevity that possible. It shouldn't be a self-sacrifice just because you got to make six figures in order to put your kids in school, which I have a daughter in college. I've helped with her tuition and all that stuff. It shouldn't be a self-sacrifice though to make that happen. It needs to be because she needs to be able to see me live a certain quality of life as well. Because it's do as I do, not do as I say. If she sees me broke down and upset and angry, she's gonna follow that same thing. I believe she can build a business and build a career or have a career and have a quality of life and travel the world while she's 26, while she's 32, while she's 41, right? And still have savings and investments and all that set aside, still have a good romantic life, still have good friends, you know what I'm saying? And still have a career, whether she works for someone or has built her own. But you don't kill yourself underneath the pretense I had to sacrifice for my kid. No, because that's a cop out to me. We're supposed to work. We got to do that. That goes without saying. I'm sitting here because I fucking worked to be able to sit here and be able to at 44 and be in this environment. I'm paying for this. And I'm not saying that to show off. I'm saying, but I'm paying for it on all levels. I had to work. I had to isolate. I had to be homeless twice. I had to figure it out. My money ain't great, but I understand too. In order for me to want to continue pursuing, I have to give some praise to myself and give myself a moment of relaxation to see what is it that I'm working for. Because I can't take this life with me. Once I'm gone, I'm gone. I can't take the money. I can't take the experience with me, but I can, while I'm here, maximize the experiences if I give myself the experiences, because I can smile now at someone because I'm not overly stressed all the damn time because I'm mad at myself for doing a 9 to 5 for 15 years I didn't like. I did a 9 to 5 for 2.5 years. I didn't care for, but I did it with the intentions and save properly so I could invest and build something else so I could do this. So it's a combination of, you have to be able to mix it all together and not just sit there and say, well, I'm being a man, I'm taking care, or I'm a woman, I got to do it this way. No, be a better being and see how others have, read stories, read autobiographies, watch people, ask questions, see how those who seemingly are doing well, how they got there, ask them how they did it. Those who, have gone through and are looking like they struggled, also talk to them and see how they, what they did and and see what, not certain not to do, but also to kind of like, I don't want to go that route, but I have to do the work still to get to where I want to be. Right. So it's not about self-sacrificing either. It's about, again, maximizing your abilities and your talents. And I'm going to say this real quick too, before I get off with you guys. I was asked the other day, like, what's my biggest fear? And I've always said my biggest fear is me not maximizing my abilities and dying premature without having even come close to scratching the surface of what I'm capable of. And I still don't think I'm there yet by any means, but I'm constantly in pursuit of that. And the only way for me to be able to obtain it is to do things to constantly push myself that seem like to someone else who's looking might say, well, you shouldn't be doing this or you shouldn't be doing that. It's not about what I should or should not be doing per se. It's what's going to work best for me and allow me to continue to evolve to reach my maturation, hopefully before I get that 150 point and I'm off this earth, right? So that's why I pursue. That's why I do. That's why I do step 4 religiously, no matter how I feel, no matter what's going on. If I am sore, if I'm not sore, if I'm thousands of miles away from home, or if I just flew 6, 7, 8 hours, the next day within 48 hours, I got to get to the gym and work out. If I've been sick for 3 days, 2 or 3 days, I got it on that fourth or fifth day. I got to get to a gym, even if I just walk into the gym. I got to get to the gym because it's part of my thank you to the powers. It's part of my thank you to myself. It's part of my decompression. It's part of my building. It's part of me taking care of this vessel so I can optimize it and use it at its fullest. So when I go out here and I snorkel, and I can't swim well, but I put on my vest, I'm fine. I can get in and out of the boat just fine. I can, move my body just fine. I can go for the run, go up into the mountains, hike, be just fine. I can get on the scooter, pick up the scooter if it falls over just fine. I can pick up the bags just fine. I can I can function just fine. I can do long work. I can focus for long periods of time. I'm trying to build out this new platform, trying to figure out how I'm going to get into Saudi Arabia with my staffing firm, and trying to look at the legalities on that and who to connect with. I can focus long because I take care of myself. I do step number 4 with intentionality and with a purpose beyond, well beyond how I look. That happens to be the icing on the cake, but it's how I do one thing is how I do everything. And I want to make sure I do everything with the intention of, I don't give a fuck how I feel. It has to get done, because if I do what's hard, my life will be easy. If I do what's easy, my life for damn sure is going to be hard. So I rather do the first over the latter. All right. So I hope this makes sense. Hope you enjoyed the background. I am. I try to talk a little bit longer on this one so you guys can enjoy the background. Yeah, I'm gonna go out here and live this first full day of my 44, uh, even more to the fullest, and learn some more, grow some more, and hopefully be better for you guys. And we'll connect on the live a little bit later. Okay. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you shortly. Have be great. Talk to you soon.